Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. It is playoff baseball. The best teams made it. The best. Not sorry, Mets. Guardians put up a fight. I guess we can call it that. They played about 3 innings of postseason baseball this year. Cubs, they're going to play the Brewers. That was a hard-fought series. I'm actually impressed. Right now, the Yanks are trying to go old school and finishing some Sox. But let's go Sox. Not much will be better than 0 New York teams in the postseason. The Mariners, Brewers, BJs, and Phillies, all potentially waiting. Well, Brewers just found out. Saturday. That's when baseball gets really good. This is a special episode. We'll focus more on the fact that we're here to have a reunion. A welcome back reunion to the GOAT. Mr. Joey Bag of Donuts.
And it feels so good. Rich, it's good to see you.
Welcome back, brother. But man, it's great to see you.
Good to see you too, Mr. Face.
Stop, Mr. Moore. One thing that we both have in common is we love the Phillies. So in turn, that means we hate one team.
Would that team
what team is
be,
that we hate?
I believe it's the New York Metropolitans.
Yes, government name.
So let me ask you this, Rich. Do I have a problem where I got more excited that the Mets got out of the playoffs than I did the Phillies winning the division?
No, because I'm relatively in the same boat. And you know why that makes us friends? Because there's one thing that will forever make us happy, and that is Frank from Barstool's anger, animosity, and tantrums.
Dude, that boy needs...
One thing I did forget to say,
God,
the most counseling possible, but one thing that I did forget to say. Cheers. This is Drunks in the Pond, special edition.
I didn't even open my beer yet. Hold on.
It's all right, brother. Yeah, man. I'm trying to keep it light, like I always do.
You do whatever you want to do. Whatever makes you happy, pal.
Talking baseball with you, brother. Now, it's a shame that Jay is not with us. Jay is once again thwarted for being on the podcast to be at work. We have had a, not necessarily a hiatus, but just kind of a little bit of a pause for the podcast. Life gets in the way, everything. This isn't our full-time job. This is something we love to do. This is just fun. Eventually, hopefully, someday it's our full-time job. Looking at you, potential sponsors. Show us some love. We'll show you plenty of love back. Now, Joe texted me earlier this morning and said, I would love to be on the podcast tonight. And I said, I would love that too. Because there is nothing that I love more. And I've said it once, I'll say it again. Nothing I love more than talking about my Philadelphia brethren in a positive light and my New York enemies, or as the kids call them, ops.
I'm too old.
In any negative way possible. No, understandable. Thankfully, TikTok has got my back. They teach me a lot of things. So, Joe, you asked, what is better? The Phillies winning division or the Mets losing and missing the playoffs? Regardless, it's sweet. It is very sweet.
Yeah, I mean, and fun fact for those guys who don't know who I am, like I lived in New York for a long time, like most of my life. So I've been surrounded by Yankee and Met fans the majority of my life. So kind of sweet for me to kind of stick it to them, especially in recent years. So, yeah, I mean, watching Lindor ground out to that double play, like I audible, like, yes, like, because it's amazing, and pun intended on that Mets little catchphrase that they have, but it's just
a glorious pun.
It is. And, part of me is really concerned that Frank the Tank's going to have a stroke pretty soon. But, I mean, at this point, you think he should know better, Been a fan of that team for a long time.
Also, at this point, I'm pretty sure he is stocking PetSmart or Petco for all the leather chew toys he goes through.
Bad.
I have never seen someone spaz out the way he does. That gives me joy. Usually, if you want to see someone spaz out that way, it's on a bus or in the subway.
Yeah, it's like I said, like part of me is like, there's something wrong with him, so you kind of feel bad, but then you realize he's upset about the Mets, and that just kind of makes me feel all warm and fuzzy. My heart grows 3 sizes that day.
Exactly. And I think we might both soon be passing for the sheer fact that our heart grew 3 sizes, what, 27 days in a row?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, I mean,
Yeah, we're in trouble.
yeah. Yeah, it's true. But but back in the Mets. So kind of like what Rich said, it's been a while since I've been on the pod, and I was at work today, and I texted him and Jay, and I said, you know what, dude, can I come on the podcast? I really want to just bash the Mets because it's just great. It's one of the few things that bring me joy in my life is bashing
It
on
is glorious.
Metropolitans. I'm not gonna. A lot of people have said that this is the most epic collapse in Mets history. I'm gonna say no because the 2007 collapse was much worse. I mean, they were up 7 games with 17.
I think it's more monumental because this one, it's not like they were leading the division while they collapsed.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember at one point, and I made some notes here too. Like when they were 55 and 42, I think they had like a 6 or 7 game lead around there. It was never double digits, but having
No, but
having
that was
that
also
lead,
still early.
yeah, and you going after going 55 and 42, you went 3-13 in your next 16. You lost 7 in a row at one point. That was one of the 3 times that they lost 7. So you in the All-Star break, they're 55 and 42. So it's not bad. You just kind of say, hey, maybe they're having a rough patch. July 20th to the 27th, they lose another 7 in a row. The second and the third, they went 2-14 between July 28th and August 14th. So I thought, you know what? It's happening again, right? Christmas is coming early. Then they sweep the Phillies. A lot of my friends were just razzing on me. Like I said, I got a lot of friends that are Mets fans, a lot of friends that are Yankee fans, but the Mets fans were just relentless. And
Trust me, I'm in one of those fantasy baseball chats. I know how bad it got.
yeah, and then the next thing you know, you're like, oh man, we're in trouble. And then you go 4-12 your next 16 with your third 7 straight loss stretch. And then you end the season 28 and 37 with 84 wins. Maybe another season's gets the job done in an expanded playoff too. You get to the final weekend. All you got to do is take 2 out of 3 from the Marlins, who have been your bugaboo in these situations,
They
and
are
you can't do it. You can't do it. You only win 1.
I want to add on to the fact that I think one of the biggest factors in people like you and me, outsiders, knowing when they were done, unlike Mets fans, unlike Cowboys fans, unlike Yankees fans, Jets fans, unlike a lot of those fans who are in denial until it's already 6 games too late. I would say the turning point of officially they are not making the playoffs that I saw is when they demoted their ace to triple.
Yeah,
I mean, how do you come back from that?
I don't think you do. I think there's a lot of factors, like the fact that they were, I think the stat I heard the other day was in the last inning of games, if they were trailing, the Mets were 0-67.
Which is disgusting. It's they've never won a game after the 8th inning.
Right, exactly. So that there was no come from behind wins from them. And, after a while, that's got to be demoralizing. You think you'd fall on
Crazy when you have a top 5 closer in baseball when you're the Mets, and yet your closer is so good. I know offense doesn't have much to do with the closer, but at the same time, you can't bridge to that ever. Like not once were you able to get over that hump and make a comeback in the 8th inning or later. So that's what easily 30 saves that Diaz missed out on.
one would think, or wins. You know what I mean? Let's say in this situation, at home, you put him in the Phillies to get the win. None of that.
Diaz had a really good year.
He did.
So typically you won't find me and Joe ever giving any accolades to Mets players. However, Diaz had a really good year, and the fact that you couldn't get the ball to him 67 times is embarrassing.
Yeah. I was looking at
you
stats.
Put up no fight.
Yeah, I was looking at stats beforehand, and it's not like the Mets were above average in the majority of categories, right? So, like,
Sure.
it's unbelievable that, like, even other teams that were, like, didn't make the playoffs had, like, better stuff. And then got teams that did make the playoffs were below average in certain things. Like, they were consistently above average, top 10 in a lot of categories, and they just didn't make it.
It's, for lack of better words, this team was a polar bear opposite of last year, where they had fight, they had heart. This year, it almost seems like they had 700 million reasons to not have heart.
It's maybe, I mean, to your point, last year it's clutch home runs by Alonso. It's clutch home runs by Lindor. Pitching seemed, Vientos pitching seemed to be better. They found ways to win. This year, none of that happened. To what you're alluding to, is Soto the problem? Soto had a great year.
He had, okay, arguably, take Ohtani and Schwarber. He's the MVP.
Yeah, he had a great year, and I don't think he made
almost
the
All-Star 40-40 guy.
Right? Yeah, and I don't think he made
No, he didn't. He didn't, because it was a big deal. No, he didn't.
I mean, and I said it from this, like, I said it to myself at the beginning of the year too, that, and to all my other friends that are baseball fans or whatever, like, the top 4 of the order, I was concerned about. 5 through 9 did not scare me in the slightest. Their pitching.
I mean, when Brett Beatty plays 15 different positions this year, cool. Luis Acuna, Angel, whatever, Angel. Ronald's little brother. When Ronald's little brother is your number one bench piece, I expect nothing. It's just they had our number for the first all of the season, except for one series that mattered.
Yeah. I mean, so in your opinion, who's to blame? If you're a Mets fan and you're sitting in Queens and you are seething because this epic collapse, which again, it's not the most epic Mets collapse in my opinion, but it is an epic collapse.
No. Agreed.
Who's at fault?
I want to throw the blame. I want to throw the blame at 2 people. I want to throw the blame at technically your manager for the sheer fact that he did not once attempt to solve their catching issues. Alvarez is not your starter. And then the other dumpster fires that you had behind the plate all year, you guys had no one to call games properly. You had little to no offense from the catching position. This day and age, your catcher is the most important player on the team, in my opinion.
Sure.
You need that good game caller. You need that person who is the captain. You need the Veritek. They don't need to be the best offensive output, but they do need to call the game right.
Yeah, and Alvarez.
You need a Realmuto who, no matter what, is the game.
Alvarez is a average catcher to slightly above catcher at best. I know, like, when he was coming up the farm system, he was the next Molina with a little more pop.
Which one?
Sorry, Yachty.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
All 3 of them play catcher.
I forgot we couldn't play Guess the Molina that I was thinking of. I mean,
no.
For me,
that should be one Guess Who game.
That would be a good game. I think they used to do that on Baseball Tonight on ESPN, but so I don't want to take anybody's.
Name that Molina. That's what it was.
Yeah, name that Molina. Right. To answer my own question, I think you got to put the GM, whose name escapes me at the moment. I think you got to put most of the blame on him. His trade deadline did not pan out.
No. Although, in fairness, they should have.
Yeah, they should have.
He bought the best.
Well, I think the Padres bought the best bullpen after getting Miller, but I mean, you're close to
it. The Padres already had the best, like, without a doubt. But you added stage leader from last year. You added another fantastic closer, Rodgers. And on top of that, you had several guys who were super healthy and throwing well.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just let Helsley pitch way too much, thinking that he was going to bounce back. I saw a Mets fan the other day posted a TikTok, and it was one of those, like, automatic slide ones where you saw a bunch of pictures in a row and some font on it. He said that Helsley should be a priority to be re-signed, and Helsley deserves 20 to 25 million a season for at least 3 years. Everyone, dude, he got torched, like, absolutely marshmallow that just fell into the fire, roasted. You deserve everything bad that happens to you for that statement alone.
Yeah, that's
Helsley
not a
needs to go
well.
somewhere else. No, he needs to go somewhere else and be a closer. He is not a setup man. I don't think he has that mentality.
Well, I mean, I think that if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong here, I don't think Diaz. I think this is Diaz's last year. So
He's
if
a free
he,
agent.
it's this year or next year.
He is a free agent. No, it's 26 to 28 player / team options.
So he's got options. Alonso has an option, which I think. I mean, it could be fake news, but in the clubhouse, it's basically saying he's not coming back.
Actually,
Yeah, I mean, even if that was like emotionally laced or not, like, do you really want to come back if you're him?
like, it's not that I'm a fan of Alonso. I'm a fan of his production. I can't stand his dumbass haircuts. Other than that, like his production is solid. He is in this day and age a top 7 first baseman in baseball. He is a bottom 10 in fielding. It's just, do I see him coming back to the Mets? I don't know about that because I feel like he's on the side where he has the sour taste in his mouth. The Mets don't. He is definitely. This is all speculation. I think he is 100% in that mindset. Why do I continue to do this here when I could do this somewhere else and have a better shot?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's yeah. I mean, I'm with you. All time hate the face. Like, I just don't like his face. I just don't. But he produces. You
Very
know,
punchable.
like a couple guys asked me the other day, was like, would you want him on the Phillies? And I said the only reason I would do that is if we don't re-sign Schwarber and you either have Harper DH permanently or him DH permanently. Now, I don't think that's going to happen because I think Middleton is just going to hand Kyle Schwarber a check and just say, put whatever number you want here. But I would, if I'm him, I don't want to be in Queens for another second.
I want to agree with that. I think to hit on your point with Middleton and Schwarber, not a blank check, but it will be backloaded. I think they're going to be smart about some of these contracts now and take some pages out of the Dodgers playbook and do a little bit more. Hey, listen, we're not going to defer because deferring is stupid in baseball. What we're going to do is give you, how do you want 22 mil this season? And then you can have 35, 38, 40 for the last couple. But also, at that point, I would also make it incentive laden. If you're towards the back end of the career, make it incentive laden. I mean, who expected 55 home runs this year? I expected 40 easily. 55, I'm hell of a year. Hell of a year. And this guy has shown progress every single year he's been here in his hitting abilities. He has grown to be more of a hitter, but he is still a, 3 true outcome player. So
Yeah,
it is what it is, but he is a hitter now.
Yeah. I mean, the Dodgers have set a precedent, right? Where you've kind of created this MLB 401k plan where, I'll pay you a couple million here and there, but then, when you retire, then it's when the really big bucks start rolling in. So is that a possibility? Yeah. I mean, just it seems like Schwarber wants to stay in Philly. I think everybody and their mother wants him to stay here in Philly. But the opposite to that is, does Alonso really want to stay? And the only one that really knows that right now is Pete Alonso.
What is the reason to? I mean, because they might give him the biggest check. I don't think that he actually cared about that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Cohen, you're at a crossroads, right? So a couple of years ago, you spent $80 million on 2 pitchers in their 40s.
Yep.
And you then quickly turn it around and said, this did not work, and traded both of them, right? He wants to spend the money, and, for the richest owner in baseball who owns the team that he grew up watching, I can see where you're not only financially invested, you're emotionally invested in this team. And I can see him continue to open the checkbook to continue to do this. But then one thing that really bugs me about Mets fans is that, like, the hypocrisy of how much they hate the Yankees, where early 2000s Yankees where they just spent so much money, and the Mets fans always like, "Oh, you're buying this and you're buying that." The Mets are doing the same thing now. Like the Yankees are like they're still spending money, but they're doing it a little smarter. The Mets aren't doing that. They don't care about the luxury tax. They spent $500 million this year on payroll, and that's including the luxury tasks. And you lost
Yeah,
you got out of the playoffs by a team whose total payroll was 68.
you're paying that to two people.
Yeah. And again, it's you paid Soto, you paid Lindor, you're paying Alonso, but then the rest of your lineup is not good. It's mediocre guys at best. McNeil, Nimmo, like I don't like it's really hurt my soul, but I kind of like Vientos. Like I think he's a good piece, but we talked about Alvarez. He's not going to cut it. Their pitching staff, like I think Clay Holmes moving to the starting rotation, I didn't think was a great idea. And I'm going to sound biased there, but it worked out. Senga had a crap year. Montas had, or not, yeah,
And Manea,
whatever, whoever it is. See, I don't even care
both
about
of them.
I can't remember their names.
But then you got pitchers like Peterson who are actually good. It's like I hate to make the comparison because I don't want to compare the player that I love to anybody else. However, I think Peterson is in one of those Zach Wheeler dilemmas with the Mets where they've spent money on several other people and it's not going to be him. He's not going to be that guy, and then he's going to go somewhere else and shove because he's already been shoving. Peterson has been there. He's been their rock for the past 2 years. And it's bad when you have one anchor on a ship that is 600 feet long.
Yeah. So the question really goes into like, how do you do you retool? Do you full out just blow it up? I don't know if you want to blow it up because you have so much invested, especially in Lindor and Soto. What do
No
you
one else
do?
will take
That's
those
weird
contracts.
spot.
Thankfully, I want to say Vientos is league minimum or arbitration, maybe. I think he's league minimum. I could look, but I don't care. And then you got Jeff McNeil, who is at this point complete back end of his career. He looks like he should be scamming insurance salesmen out of selling insurance, which makes no sense, but that's what McNeil looks like he should be doing. I've never seen anybody whine or cry more. I do love the fact that when Hoskins left Philly, he continued the tradition of making McNeil cry on national TV. So, once again, as always, tip of the cap to you, Reese. You got Nemo, who has kind of been their only player on that team besides Pete for more than 5 years that has produced every year, but he's not great production. But he's solid. They have such a weird dynamic in that clubhouse on that roster, especially in that payroll department. I I don't I don't know how they're going to fix it, but they do need to fix a lot.
Yeah.
I think it starts with command. I think it starts with command. You need people who can actually control the egos. I don't think Lindor is an ego problem because it always seems like he just wants to have fun. Like, he's just a happy guy. Do I think Soto has an ego problem? I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I've never really heard other players have any issues with him as a person. I've heard plenty of pitchers hate his ego at the plate,
Right.
but that's neither here nor there. I mean, you're allowed to be a D-bag at the plate.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's whatever.
Yeah, and Soto's the difference, right, between last year's team and this year's team, the major difference. There was reports, how true they were or not, on he's flying on different planes and he wants this and he wants that and he's not happy here. Like, who knows? I mean, again, I don't know which part of that's true, but is Soto the problem? If he is the problem, you're in a world of hurt because you got 14 more years of this.
I got 14 more years.
You got 14
three quarters
more
of $1 billion and $750 million. So it's tough because obviously we're not in the clubhouse. We don't know the ins and outs. We don't know if he sits down next to the younger guys and be like, "Yo, keep your head up, stay cool, Poppy," shit like that. Like I've never heard him being a leader. I think he's more of a lead by doing, not lead by example.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's kind of hard to lead by doing when there's six players in the sport that can do what you do. When you're already on that pedestal and if you're trying to educate younger players, I want to know if they gravitate towards someone like that, or they're more along the lines of saying, how the hell am I supposed to even try?
Yeah, I mean, or is like sometimes like you don't have to be a leader verbally, right? I mean, if Soto is like, hey, just go out there and produce. Don't worry about rah rah on everybody. Just, be a table setter or drive and runs. Focus on that. Maybe that and get somebody else who can be a verbal leader, But he doesn't have to do everything. I know like everybody like, oh, you're making $750 million. You should do this and you should do that. It's not always the case, right? Not everybody is a leader in a verbal way. So
So
again, what's like
one thing,
they do?
let me add on to that real quick.
Sure.
Well, the thoughts in my head. Let me add on to that. You said that perfectly. Not everyone is that type of leader. So it's a good thing to just have someone come in and play baseball. You don't need to have that person who just is the verbal leader. You don't need to have that person who is the physical leader. You just need that person who comes in and plays baseball.
Right.
So it reminds me of Chase Utley. That's what Chase Utley was. Chase Utley was not a vocal leader. Chase Utley was not that guy standing up for the youth on the team. Because let's face it, there was never any youth on Phillies teams with Chase Utley around.
Yes, and to me, Chase Utley obviously can do no wrong. He's my favorite Philly of all time. But you're
Yeah,
exactly right. Like he you never heard any like Rollins was the verbal leader, right? In that club,
correct.
right? So you didn't need one, right? He said everything. He told the Mets that they were the team to beat in '07, and he did all this. Like he set it up, and then Utley and Howard and Ruiz and everybody else took care of. So you can be a
He talked the
star.
talk and walked the walk.
Yeah, you can be a star and not have to do everything, and that includes that. Rich, do you know
So
in the entire
yeah, go ahead.
in the entire Mets franchise, how many times have they gone to the playoffs in consecutive years? And they've been around since mid 60s.
5 times.
Twice.
Ooh, ooh,
Twice. It is almost
ooh.
so somebody brought this up because I had a guilty pleasure kind of streak on Monday where I was listening on YouTube to WFAN and like all the other Mets pundits, and I just wanted to hear the anger in their voice and the disappointment in their voice. And that was one of the stats that they brought up, was that they've gone to the playoffs consecutively twice in their entire history. And they also said, I forgot which one that said it, but it makes an interesting point where did the 86 Mets just sell their soul to the devil to win? And this is their punishment?
So you mean to tell me they have never won the division more than 2 years in a row?
They have never made the playoffs in consecutive years ever, or twice.
Okay. So at that same standing, wild card was introduced in what?
After the strike, 95, right? Yeah, 95.
So that means that they have most likely never won the division twice in a row.
Shooting from the hip, that's probably an accurate statement. I can't.
I mean, it's tough because you had the Braves at what, 14 years straight,
Right?
and then you had us at what,
Five,
6, 7,
6, because they won the
and you
division.
had the Nationals quite a few times. Marlins have never won the division.
Right? Correct. But they've won 2 World Series. Riddle me that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't.
it's
Yeah.
the hot team. That's all you need to know. The hot team. I mean, look at the Rockies in '06. I mean, they didn't win the World Series, but it was '07. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Semantics.
Oops.
That's fine. Semantics, right?
Yeah.
It's speaking of '07. I had this story in the chamber the entire time. How old were you in '07? Like, what do you remember from this play, that magical September?
I just turned 18, and I remember going for September. I remember showing up to 10 to 12 home games in the parking lot with a backpack full of beer, tailgating, and then taking the L and then the bus home. Yeah, that. Listen, I remember a lot about the baseball. but I remember a lot more about the experience. The
So,
baseball was incredible. The experience was perfect.
sure. So I'm going to tell you my favorite anti-Mets story of all time, right?
Please
So
do.
it is game 162, right? Phillies got to play the Nationals. Mets have to play the Marlins. Whoever, if one of them wins, they win the division. If they both win, it's a one-game playoff, right? Now, again, I lived in New York, so I had to go to a bar to watch the game. I drive to the bar, right? Which was the bar that I went to was about 15 minutes away from where I lived. I was going to meet some friends there. And I'm dashing in, like, I show my ID because I was like 24 at the time, 24, 25. I dash in the bar and I quickly, like, look at the score. Now, as you probably remember, Glavine was on the hill and everybody thought it was over, and Glavine got shelled. I look up and I believe it's 4-0 and it's the first inning. I turn
Yep.
to the opposite side, like, of of the TVs. Now, the corner of my eye is a kid with his Mets jersey on. He already has the backwards flipped over rally cap on, right? So I just look at him, I look at the score, I look at him again, and I start laughing. Like uncontrolled, like diabolical laughing, right? And he goes, "Oh, didn't the Phillies blow it in 1964?" Blah blah blah. I'm like, "Yeah, but you don't even know anything about 1964." Yeah, but like, stop living in the past. Like, you must be from New York. You were like a part-time Yankee fan because you want to bring up the past, right? I'm looking right now.
Everyone but Moyer on our team wasn't born yet. So
Right.
just relax.
Exactly. So it was just the entire time of, like, me looking at the Phillies game, checking on what's going on, and looking at this kid just in horror, like unbelievable horror. If, like, the nice part of me too, like, if I didn't know if he was of age or not, whatever. But like, there's like a bar, restaurant, and like, I would have bought the kid a beer just to, like, here,
Sure.
why don't you drown your misery, because yeah, you're gonna need it. Like, it
Yeah,
was
but also, I mean, never buy a beer for someone who's wearing a diaper.
very true, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, he was soaked up top, probably soaked down the bottom too.
He just, I have never in all my years of watching sports with, like, like teams or whatever, opposite fandom, I've never seen, like, the life was gone from this kid's face, Rich. I swear.
Sure.
He saw, like, that scene in Ghostbusters 2 where, like, the Titanic lands and all the ghosts come in. It's literally like he was staring at that.
I have a similar, but obviously not in that monumental scale where it's, final game of the year. So it was actually this season. Kate and I went to a game. It was Phillies Tigers. Potential World Series? Maybe. Probably not. I don't think the Tigers have anybody else that can really get them there besides Scooble. They ride the back of Scooble very hard.
Finish your story. I want to circle back on that, but go ahead.
Yes. So we're sitting there. We're second deck, couple rows off the wall. Easily obtainable for home run distance. So not upset about our seats. Great night. You got Christopher Sanchez versus Charlie Morton. Charlie Morton over the years has been easily a nice, like, 8-inch dagger in the Philly side. Charlie Morton has always done something to annoy us ever since we signed him, and he almost died within 2 games, which is a shame because I actually love Charlie Morton. And it was one of those typical things where almost anybody that the Phillies ever had, and they're no longer on the team but they're still in the league, they fight hard. That's all Philly sports. Let's just preface that. Anybody who used to be a Philadelphia sports player plays real hard when they come back because they still want the respect. They still want it. You crave it from here. You yearn for it. Charlie Morton, he's earned a lot of respect across the league. However, Charlie Morton got designated for assignment after being traded for with a week left in the season by the Tigers, which is fantastic. So you got the Ageless Wonder and Morton dicing up the Phillies. And then you got Christopher Sanchez throwing an absolute gem. It was like a 2-1 game until the seventh. And I think it was about like 2 rows away, or Yeah, 2 rows down and 6 or 7 people to the side. There's this guy, and I'm not going to be presumptuous, but his partner, both wearing Tigers jerseys. Fantastic. Good for you for coming into the Lions Den, not the Tigers Den, and wearing Outsiders jerseys when Morton's on the bump. Good for you. A guy had a Morton jersey, and obviously the other guy had a Scooble jersey because, yeah, you got to respect a handful of Tigers jerseys. And I'm just like, I'm looking at Kate and I'm like tapping her, and I'm like, this guy's gonna spaz out soon. He's been loud the whole night. He's gonna spaz out because Sanchez has like 8 strikeouts, 7 of them are on the changeup, and he has complained about the changeup all night. Next thing you know, we're batting. Schwarber hits a bomb, and I want to say it was Castellanos who hit a bomb, and it was just incredible timing because you see this guy throw his Tigers hat completely off the balcony. It drops. It made it like 7 feet, and then it just
Love it.
down to the ground.
Love it.
Like it definitely landed on someone right underneath because it didn't reach the field. And all you see is him turn around and look at everyone and go, "How are we supposed to win when the only player we have is Scooble?" And it made me so happy to watch someone else that frustrated for something that Jay, me, and Damon have all said countless times on the podcast throughout this past season and a half. Because the Tigers ride or die by Scooby. That game, one of the playoffs against the Guardians, one of the best postseason pitching performances I've ever seen. 14 strikeouts, absolutely dominated. And this is exactly something that you and I would have a conversation about, and we're going to do it right now. Would you have removed him from that game with 110 pitches, knowing that he wasn't going to pitch for at least 4 to 5 days, no matter what?
I mean, they did win, right? So in hindsight, like it's kind of I mean, I
get it.
I don't know. I mean, the game was in, if I remember correctly, the game was in hand, right? Like you want to
It
save
was 1-0.
Yeah, yeah. Now there's 1-0. I can't really remember that game because this is what happens when you have playoff games at 1 o'clock on a work day, right? So you don't see everything. I mean, it wound up working out. Do I give Scooble the ball? That's a good question. Maybe give him another inning. He was at 110. That's not bad.
Yeah, let's take a look. Box score right here. Scooble. Oh, they were losing 1-0 until the 7th, and they tied it up at 1 in the 7th. Oh, never mind. They scored 1 in the 1st. I'm sorry. It's hard for me to read right now. Long day. You understand.
Reading's overrated. Reading's overrated anyway.
Yeah. Based
on that, sure, minimize the damage. It wound up working out for him at the end. But the point that I wanted to make, and the tie that we're going to go back to, that we're going to do the Trump weave here, right? So the Tigers had a 14-game lead, and if the Tigers miss the playoffs, we're having a different conversation about epic collapses, right?
That would be the biggest, in my opinion, of all time.
Right. But in typical Mets fashion, right, they make the playoffs, so we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about how they blew a 14-game lead, right? You made the playoffs, and now, spoiler alert to some people, you moved on, right? So it worked out. It's typical Mets fashion. Like you can't even get somebody else to help you out. Statistically, you should have this happen, and you don't. You're praying that the Tigers don't make the playoffs because you don't want to catch all the heat. And they got in, and they won a series. So kudos to the Tigers. They're gonna struggle next round, but yeah, just you can't it's just amazing that the Mets have this huge lead, and you think for a second as a Mets, well, I'm about ready to start bashing the Tigers because the Tigers are gonna blow it, and they don't blow it. And all you have to do is win 2 out of 3 against, again, not good Marlins team, and you don't pull it off. You don't even score a run in the last game.
However, you're forgetting one big thing to give the Marlins any credit. Not good, low payroll, but they have some goddamn heart.
They do. They do.
I will always give a team that credit.
Yeah. And I
if
was
they deserve
laughing.
it.
And I was laughing too. Like, I don't know if you heard like the SNY broadcast, but Ron Darling was really upset that they took a photo of the like at the end of the game. He's like, "Oh, you're acting
It's
like that
glorious.
World Series, blah blah blah." I'm like, you know what? If you don't like that, win, beat them. It's that.
Yeah, like you're disrespecting 26 guys. You are blatantly disrespecting 26 guys who played baseball because your team didn't do what was expected of them. Really? How long have you been in this game, darling? And that's not a pet name. How long have you been in this game, darling? That
They
was a pet name.
are, and again, I will sound biased by saying this, but like they are the worst broadcasting crew. I can't stand them because
Like,
it's Darling with his baseball elitistness. It's Hernandez with his like again his elitist comments too. Like, remember when he said, "I don't like watching the Phillies because they don't play fundamental baseball."
yep.
What's happened since?
And that was the year we went to the World Series
It
with
was.
an absolute abysmal defense.
It was. They were built. I've said this a million times.
Screw your fundamental baseball. Screw it.
I've said this a million times. Like, the Phillies right now are built like an old man softball team. They rely too much on the bombs. Their defense is average. Doesn't light the world on fire. They're not going to have web
Well,
depth every night, but they win. They win baseball games.
for the last month and a half of the season, that changed. We did not rely on the long ball unless it was Schwarber. We relied more on the fact that we had a bunch of role players due to injuries or a lot of little things that were just trickling factors. But the one thing that we did rely on, which is something that is I didn't think I would ever say, sound defense. Trey Turner played his best defensive season of all time. Bryson Stott, top 5 defensive infielder in baseball, without a doubt. It's hard to argue. He got snubbed last year. Also, I'm not sure if you saw that play that Horner made earlier tonight in the game. Small white guy shouldn't jump that high at second base.
Yeah,
Sorry.
the snow cone liner. Yeah, I did catch that.
Incredible. Incredible play. I understand why he wanted to go glove over Stott, but he shouldn't have. However, Bohm has become not an elite third baseman defensively, but he is more than serviceable. And Harper is a gold glove first baseman.
I will eat crow on the fact that I think I've said this to you a few times that I did not think Bohm would be because he's not an ideal third baseman as far as frame goes. I thought he would have been a better first baseman. And I'll eat crow there. I thought he should have played first. He's doing well at third. And I will stand corrected by saying with like their defense, in 2022, their defense was not good, but they wound up making the World Series. It is almost like they channeled their inner Billy Bean in Moneyball and said, defense does not matter, right? They have gotten better defensively, so you are exactly right.
So this leads me to the next point of the conversation. Our outfield has been the issue for the past 2 years defensively. We shored that up a lot with Kepler. Kepler's a very sound defensive left fielder. We did not have any bad defensive center fielders this year. Offensive center fielders, yeah. We added in a gold glove winner in Bader. Exceeded almost everyone's expectations, except for the people who actually watch baseball, compared to the people who are just in Philadelphia baseball fan groups on Facebook. So that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Who is the one guy in baseball for 2025 that did not make an error with qualified innings?
I believe the answer to this is the same person that had the same stat last year, and that would be Nicholas Castellanos. Am I correct?
Yes. However, the worst defensive right fielder in baseball.
It's quite the
Metrics
anomaly.
are stupid. Metrics are stupid. I understand the need. I understand the science. I understand the math. Human error is more important than math. The dude wasn't making errors because he couldn't get to the ball. That doesn't make him a bad outfielder. That just makes him an outfielder. That's all he was. He wasn't good or bad. Sure, there was defensive runs that he could have saved, that DRS. But also, once you added in Bader and you had to offensive explosion of Brandon Marsh, forcing his bat in the lineup. Therefore, you had Kepler and Wright. You had an elite defensive outfit that I saw very, very few balls getting into the gap that should have or shouldn't have. I didn't see any stupidity. I saw three guys who knew what they were doing in the field. Castellanos knows what he's doing. He also just knows the limitations.
Yeah,
Can't fault a guy for knowing your limitations.
Very true. I mean, I think Castellanos is more of a left fielder than a right fielder based on that. I mean, I know that I ever heard somebody at one point saying that they learned that Castellanos fields better when he's going like down and to the left on fly balls. So that was part of the reasons why it was one of those things. But like they found out that he does better when his route to the ball is a certain way. So that had much to do with defense.
That math is so weird. I don't really truly understand that math, but yes.
Yeah.
I get it.
It's weird, but all things considered, like, and kind of I think what you're alluding to, like, Castellanos is the odd man.
Defensively, yes.
I mean, like, overall, so, like, is Castellanos on the Phillies roster next year? I would say no.
But yeah, the limiting question for next year is, obviously, will Schwarber and Realmuto be back on the team? I want to say yes. Both of them will have to be here. You have zero availability for an upgraded catcher or even a side grade. The multi-million-dollar question is, are the Orioles? I think that's going to be tough. I think that one's going to be tough. Obviously, if they do put him on the market, we have to be the number one team vying for them. However, do you trust his bat? He's had 1.5 good seasons out of 5.
Yeah, I mean, if you do that, I mean, you are running the risk of going back to your, for lack of a better term, stereotypical catcher, right? Where he's great defensively. The bat is not going to be there. He's going to be a 7-8 hitter in the lineup. I mean, if you do decide, like, because the Orioles are weird. Like, the Orioles are kind of like in a weird spot. They had a couple really good years. So they didn't do well in the playoffs. And they tanked this year. They did not play well. You have Gunnar Henderson. You have Rushman. You have these younger guys that you're not hurting. Like, I don't think you blow it up fully. But if you want to trade Rushman, it's not just going to be the Phillies. Like, every team in the league is going to pick up the phone. Who has it?
There's what? 3?
There might be 3 or 4
three teams with better catchers.
Couple of them don't pick up the phone, but everybody will say, "Hey, what are you interested in?" Do the Phillies have the prospects to do that? I don't know.
I mean, we have a logjam in a lot of positions, but I don't know if it's worth it because I think they go one more year with Rushman, or at least wait until the deadline because I think they really want to see what Basayo has. Basayo is going to be an elite catcher. Defensively, he is sound, like beyond sound. Offensively, the dude has all the talent in the world. We'll see. He's still disgustingly young.
Right. I mean, and it brings up other questions, right? Do you move Rushman to first? Do you have him DH? Like, I can't, I don't know, like, the Orioles not off the top of my head right now, but, like, are those options?
I think first base is the only option. Because if Basayo's bat is going to be that good, what do you do with him on his day in? So therefore, DH, you can't take that away from someone else you're paying money to.
Right.
And I think first base is kind of the only position that they have that is very wonky. Because you got Mountcastle, or they traded O'Hearn. So I think first base is the only position that is kind of a toss-up for them.
Yeah, I mean,
But also, let's real quick, let's thank the Orioles for trading Cedric Mullins to the Mets.
Yeah, that was an interesting move because, like, 4 years ago, Cedric Mullins was a stud outfielder, and he's just slowly declined ever since. Yeah, and it hasn't been another one of those brilliant moves, and another reason why if I'm running the show in Queens, somebody's got to get the axe, and I think it's going to be the GM because you basically gave him free range. Money was not a problem, and you've made these moves And money does not buy you championships. Again, ask the team that's down the street from you. It just doesn't work that way. It just doesn't.
Who is the Mets GM? Stearns.
Stern. Yeah, I knew it was like I knew it was like some famous like or like a kind of popular Stearns. Yeah, yeah. What do you
Yeah.
do? You're at such a weird spot for the Mets. Like you are in this weird fugazi limbo, in this fugazi baseball limbo. And again, I love every second of it. And I mean, like we can just do another hour-long episode on stories and why I don't like the Mets and their fan base. We could do it all day. But it's what do you do at this point? Like Cohen's got to realize too that like, where's the return of investment on this? Yeah, you're making a ton of money. They broke an attendance record this year. I think they had 3.5 million fans or something like that, some crazy amount. It was an attendance record for Queens. Yeah. So the fan base showed up. That's not the problem. The product.
They showed up and spent.
What do you do?
I don't know. All right. So we're coming towards the end of the show because both of us have dad life. So let's talk about the future the next couple days. How are you feeling now that we're set in stone? We're playing the Dodgers. We got them coming to us. How do you feel? Not predictions. Let's not do predictions. Let's talk about gut feelings and let's do game one. Other than that, everything else doesn't matter. Let's talk about game one. You got Ohtani on the bump. Remember what happened last time we played and Ohtani pitched against us? No hit ball for 5 innings, 10 strikeouts, and then we won. Let's talk about how you feel going into this, and I'll give my quick opinion.
Tell you that the Dodgers frighten me more than anybody else in the playoffs as a Phillies fan. You are the defending champion. You have the greatest player in the world on your team. I love Teoscar Hernandez. Like everybody, obviously as much as I didn't like Freddie Freeman as a Brave, he's a great baseball player. Mookie Betts is a great baseball player. You are playing a very difficult lineup. I am
in the postseason.
In the postseason. This was the team that scared me the most out of everybody. I'm not worried about the Brewers because they've always find a way to choke. I was a little worried about the Padres because of the bullpen. I wasn't worried about the Cubs. From the AL standpoint, there is not a team in the AL that I'm really worried. Maybe Seattle. If I have to choose one, I'll say Seattle. The Yanks don't scare me. The Red Sox don't scare me. Whoever else is left over in the AL, obviously the Tigers don't scare me at all. They're barely limping in.
I mean, didn't we score 40 plus runs against the Mariners in a 3-game series? I'm not entirely scared about any team name. The only thing, and it's stupid, but it's also track record, the Yankees. They're that machine. Once they start going, they go. But that's just mentality. That's the winner's mentality.
But a non Garrett Cole Yankees, that's what I think is the factor there. You can
but you do have Max Fried, who has done nothing but good against the Phillies.
But you have right, but you also have a Phillies it only pitches once or twice in a 7-game series, right? Maybe 3.
Agreed.
You have a better line. You have
not worried about their bullpen. Not worried about their bullpen. You were absolutely correct to hit the nail on the head. Padres bullpen, the only bullpen that scares me. Dodgers bullpen is in shambles. Has been for the last 2.5 to 3 months. I'm just going to go out and say the only team left in the postseason that puts any fear into me is the Brewers. But there's no fear. It's more along the lines of, I have no idea what they're capable of. Because on paper, not a good offense. Pitching from the starters, solid. Freddie Peralta, another great Cy Young type campaign season. The rest of their starters, good. Their bullpen, nowhere near as good as last year. Still a good bullpen, though. But the thing about the Phillies is, let your starter come in, throw 5 innings, no hit, 10 strikeout ball. We'll see you in the bullpen.
That's easy. Easy said than done. No, just pitch no hitters. Go ahead. I will tell you that if I could hop in the DeLorean and go back to the day before Wheeler goes down. I would tell you with 1,000% certainty, I am more confident about this Phillies team than I have ever been in a Phillies team during the Harper era.
Fair. Respect.
If Wheeler was still healthy, I would be standing somewhere on Broad Street right now waiting for the parade to start.
We're not allowed tents on Broad, but we can get one in the alley. That's fine.
Oh, wait, I'll figure it out. So I know a guy.
We'll also fit in.
Yeah, I mean, like with the Brewers and like historically, obviously that changes, but you've seen the Brewers with good teams like the Ryan Braun and the Prince Fielder years where they have had good teams. And when it comes to the playoffs, they come up short. It's happened to them a ton of times. Yeah. Last year was another time. It's hard for me based on that track record. It's hard to me to say that I'm on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm like a 4 on the worried market for that.
I have 0. I'm at a 4 at max for anything, even the Dodgers. Because if you want to go track record, how is the Dodgers track record against us for the past couple years?
Yeah.
Shit. How's the Dodgers track record against us in the postseason period? What's that? He sends one into the night?
There's rips one into the night, deep into right, way out of here. That was a great inning.
Come on. I mean, that was fantastic.
Broxton.
So I'm in the same boat as you.
Broxton never had the right here.
No. I mean, he gave us that series, but then next year Rollins did it again.
Yeah,
so
Broxton he did not like the Phillies at all. He could not rent free in his head.
Yep. And then he was the same way when he was with the Reds after that.
Yeah. Because there was another time too, though. I mean, there was those 2 games, and I don't know if you remember this. It was a regular season game. I think the Dodgers were up like 6-0 in the 9th or something like that, and Broxton was on the bump, and like weird things were happening. It was like it hit here, and then there was an error where, God, I can't remember the third baseman for the Dodgers at the time. Probably think it was Blake DeWitt. Could have been somebody else. Right through the wickets. Right, 5 hold it. And the Mets on the brain. Phillies, they scored like 7 and then they 7 in the 9th to win. That was in like the thin Aaron Altair years.
The good ones.
Yeah. The Aaron Altair Brown years.
All right, let's end it perfectly with this day in baseball.
Ooh.
1974. A 13-0 win for the Braves over the Reds. Hank Aaron homered off Raleigh Eastwood, 733rd career home run in his last National League at bat.
That's a fun fact. Fun fact for a great player that Aaron. I think he did pretty good things.
Yeah, he had a couple home runs in the American League prior to that.
I mean, if he's not in the Hall, the Veterans Committee should put him in there. I mean, I'm just throwing it out here.
Yeah.
Like hot take.
Can't believe that happened. Ugh.
Wild.
So,
wow, that's a good one. That's a good fun fact.
I mean, 1974. 1974. They played a game in October that wasn't playoff baseball.
This is unbelievable. It had to be the last game
Must
of the
have
year,
been a lot of rain that year.
Yeah, might have been.
Had to be.
Yeah, that's wild.
Real good for the crops. Soybeans were through the roof.
Yeah, corn was 10 feet high that year, I feel.
Yeah. 6 kids got lost in one cornfield within a week.
Probably where the movie that inspired Children of the Corn.
Could be.
Big.
We'll never know. Joe, it was an absolute pleasure seeing you again, buddy.
Rich,
we gotta grab a beer in person soon.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. I should start getting back to the old 3 up, 3 downs and the ultimate lineups. I got a whole bunch lined up. So I'm
I would love that, brother.
Yeah, man.
However, one thing that I could semi-confidently say, I can't wait to have a beer with you on Broad.
Let's do it. It's a date.
Yep. Ooh. That's nice.
All right, pal. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Of course. Everyone, this was Drunks in the Ponds, special edition. Joe is back. Hopefully not just for one night. As he said, he's got some stuff in the chamber. He's spinning that trying to figure out what's the next thing and come out in Russian roulette. Let's go. Let's go, Phillies. Sorry, Mets. Guys, baseball for the postseason is here. Let's
Playoffs, baby.
fucking go.
Playoffs, baby.
Have a great night, everyone.
Take
We
care,
will see
everyone.
you soon. Thank you. See you, brother.